What are some fundamental concepts related to phrasing and form? How can you use the piano to better understand phrasing and form? Why is the piano an important tool in expressing phrasing and form? We're going to try to answer these questions and gain skills through a variety of activities. First, let's do some review to help you get started. In round 1, our contestant Josh must look at the antecedent phrase below and compose an appropriate consequent phrase to create a sectional period. To make matters worse, he'll be doing this task while dangling 50 feet below a helicopter. Buckle up. Josh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can barely hear you, but what were you saying?
Josh, tell the viewers what's going through your mind right now.
Well, I know that this phrase ends on an imperfect authentic cadence because it doesn't end on the tonic note. But what I'm going to try to do is see if I can start the next phrase with the same notes, but just make sure to end it on the tonic, and then that should be a perfect authentic cadence. So let me see. Hold on a second. I'm hanging upside down. Let me see if I can figure this out, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay, Josh is going to keep working on that, and let's see if he can figure this out. After making a safe landing, Josh was able to record his sectional period. Let's listen now. Success. Now Josh must find a way to take his sectional period and turn it into an interrupted period, this time while face to face with a wild cat. Will he be able to perfect his form under these conditions? Josh, you're going to have to figure out how to turn this passage into an interrupted period.
Well, I'll tell you, you're right about that. Look, there's just no two ways about it. That tonic chord in measure 4's gotta go. So what I'm thinking, I'm probably gonna have to put a dominant chord in there instead. And so that means I'm gonna have to switch around some of the notes of the melody. Maybe I'll change some of the notes in measure 3 going into measure 4 so that the melody ends on a chord tone of the G major chord. So let me get hang on, I gotta go. Something's happening here.
Okay, Josh, good luck with that, and we'll check in soon. Josh was able to record an interrupted period with only a scratch. Let's listen now. Success. We have the basic idea, and then the repeated idea, and then the continuation. So as we can see, the melody in the violin is then played in the second violin, and then the sequence continues second time and a third for a third repetition. And then I've analyzed the harmony in the harpsichord to figure out the chord progression. So then, putting it together, we have melody and harmony, and we hear the sequence. So I've rewritten these components so we can see them in two voices and better understand the progression of the sequence. So let me play this reduced version. So not only are we using the piano to hear the sequence by reducing it down to the skeleton, essentially, but we're also having a very great visual aid to see the contour. And another question to ask in this case, why do we end the sequence after the third time? Why don't we continue the sequence? So if we were going from the third time, make a dominant chord to E flat major, and then another dominant chord to the next repetition. Instead, we stay on B flat. Into a totally different sequence, and then a faster sequence. So finding the sequences is one step, using the piano to help hear that and see that. But really we want to ask, what's the musical purpose of the sequence? In many cases we're prolonging an idea, makes it more intense, makes it more expressive, that we keep pursuing this idea, and finally we'll resolve. In this case, it goes through, gets into a scale, and then resolves in the key of F. But we've gone through at least 3 sequences in this whole page. When it comes to identifying the sections of these forms, I would recommend looking for patterns that repeat, such as melodies that are recurring, any changes you see in the key signatures, tempo indications, textures, if we're looking at a piece with many voices, and especially identifying cadences, which would typically indicate the conclusion of a section, or at least a phrase. And the piano, of course, as we talked about, can be used to reduce these textures. Find the melody voice, find the bass voice, look at those two voices together. Reduce textures to chords and play cadences so you can hear the formal sections. And finally, the importance of doing this. Why should we look into these sections? Why should we be aware of the layout of the music? This lets us have a deeper understanding of the music at the end of the day, so that we're understanding not just what is going according to a certain form or a certain predetermined organization, but what is irregular, such as harmony, such as patterns that break from the mold, any kinds of rhythmicalities or silences, or changes that are unexpected, or colors that we hear that are unexpected. And this can inform not only our own learning, but the collaboration and how we express the musical meaning to our audiences and to others, and continue to dive deeper in our understanding.